Welcome to Kaizen Time, part of the Blood, Sweat, and Business podcast, where we provide constant improvement to businesses through timely, actionable financial solutions. Do you want answers to your financial questions? Email us at bsp@kaizencpas.com. I'm your host, Mark Valesky. Now let's get started. Welcome to another episode of Kaizen Time. I'm joined by Eric Jordan, a partner here at the firm. Eric, previously we had talked about small businesses, them being underfunded, and the astronomical percentage of them that fail.
Absolutely.
Can you just give me those numbers again? How many fail in the first year, couple of years?
Yeah, so the stats on that are staggering, right? 25% of small businesses won't make it beyond their first year, 50% beyond 5 years, and 65% beyond 10 years. Meaning after 10 years, we're down to 35% of businesses that start.
So, basically, why would you even want to start a small business, right?
It's a huge risk, right?
It is.
And 47% of those businesses that fail are because they run out of money.
Mm-hmm. Which makes sense. That's why businesses would fail typically.
Correct.
And really, before we get into this, I want to take a second to run something through your mind, because I have kids.
Yep.
And I don't know what the future is going to be like, right? I don't know if the job that I work right now will exist for them in the future. So I do kind of think about that, right? But in my mind, there's always one thing that I know will exist. There will always be business owners.
Absolutely.
There will be somebody to run the business.
Correct.
Right? Now, the jobs under that will always shift, but there'll always be an owner. So in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, I need to be able to teach them to be able to run a business. So that is kind of, to me, why you should take that kind of risk, because there is always success in owning a business or having the ability to own a business.
Absolutely.
And when you own a business, that's, let me rephrase that, to own a profitable business, one that makes it past those 10 years, that's a powerful thing.
Absolutely.
And that sets you up for long-term success, not only for you, but for your family. Right?
Absolutely.
I'm sure we've all seen the benefits where, hey, my dad was this wealthy business owner, that money was able to stay within the family, set everyone up with, trusts.
Generational wealth.
There's all that. There are huge benefits for not only you, but for your family as well.
Oh, totally.
Anyway, with that said, let's get to a plan for a small business. And planning, as we've kind of mentioned before, really is a game changer, because one, you're not incurring any cost in the planning phase. You can work your normal job, you can live your normal life while you plan on the side. But once you set that business up, once you go live, that's when I don't say clock's ticking, but clock is super ticking.
The clock is ticking for sure. Yeah. Let's start with talking about the avenues to business ownership, right? Who becomes business owners? And I really look at this as two paths, right? Is somebody either they work in a trade, they work in some sort of industry, right? And they say, hey, I think I can go off and do my own thing with this. Maybe they have an idea, product, concept, whatever it may be. Or maybe they just say, hey, I think I'm really good at this. And maybe they start doing a little bit of work on the side. Naturally, that grows and grows and grows. Now they have a quote unquote business, or they have at least a self-sustaining job where they work for themselves. Or you have the other side of that, right? Hey, I worked in a tangential industry or a completely different industry, and I did something completely different. And I said, hey, I think I have a good investment opportunity to go open or run this business. Or maybe I just want to run a business. Maybe it's not something related at all to what I've done, but I think I can be very successful at going out and running a business. And those are really the two paths of people that we see, right? I might see somebody who worked in actually a good friend of mine, Patrick Dichter. He owns an accounting firm, was never an accountant, right? He actually worked in marketing. Now he's an accountant, and his passion is really not even about doing accounting. It's about helping businesses buy and acquire and grow. Mm-hmm. So there's an example of entering that industry completely at a tangential, and he bought a firm. So that's also a different way, right? Now we're at this next level, right? That's tier one of like, hey, where do we start? Like, what are our origins? Mm-hmm. how do we get into having the business, right? I might buy a business or I might start it from scratch. And there's multiple reasons why. Hey, the person who might be doing a little bit of work on the side, to grow, they're more likely to naturalize the business from day one. Whereas maybe the person from the outside industry that said, hey, I think having a great investment opportunity, or I really want to go run a business, they might just go and acquire an existing business. Those are two very different paths.
And then those paths have pros and cons, right? If you're purchasing an existing business, you already have their clientele, right? Now, that said, if they're a good business, that's great. If they're a failing business or doing poorly, right? Yeah, you can sell it for,
cheap.
Get it for cheap, right? But at the same time, then you're putting out that sign that says under new management, which, anytime you drive past that business that has questions come up like, oh, what was this like before? And what's it like?
Yeah. Super slight tangent. But when you look at busy acquirers, so meaning I'm a private equity group and I'm rolling up businesses or whoever, strategic buyers, they're not buying the business that's a great deal. They're buying the business that is running the best because they know that integration for them is more important than getting a good deal on the purchase price, because they know ultimately they will still drive a lot more value of that well-running business, and it will happen a lot cleaner than the one that they're getting at a discount because it's being run
looking
poorly.
For it on sale.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Buying businesses on sale generally is a bad business model, a bad acquisition model. But let's get back to, what we said. Hey, and why did I cover those things, right? Because those are your origins and those are your paths, right? That's tier one of planning, right?
Those are your roots, right? That's where we're starting.
If I'm currently employed and I'm doing something, I think I'm going to go on my own, right? I need to start writing my plan from that, right? Hey, if I'm going to naturalize this business, I'm going to do it out of my garage. What does day 1, 2, 3, 30, 40, 60, 90, 180, 2 years, 5 years look like? Right. And it doesn't have to be perfect, right? We're not submitting this for a test for you to go pass. The answer is not set in stone, A, B, C, D, right? It is, but this is something that, hey, I'm thinking about, and my actions need to then correlate back to my plan.
Yep. And, for example, hey, I'm going to start a bakery.
Yep.
Okay. I currently work at a bakery, right? You can go to your boss's your boss's accounting firm and say like, hey, I'm not telling you to tell me all my boss's financials, but tell me what this needs to look like. Right. I mean, for them to give you some quick numbers and jot it down for you is not going to cost you as much as, hey, I have already started this bakery and now I need to figure this out because you're 3 months in and already you're on the struggle bus.
And a great conversation starts with, and honestly, a good advisor would ask these questions, right? Hey, this is a great idea to go start your own business. Let's talk about what that business will look like, right? Hey, we want to do this out of your kitchen forever. Are you going to rent a space? How many customers do you want to serve? Right. And then we start, if you've worked in the business, right, how many mixers, how many ovens, how many serving boards, how many prep tables, all these different things that you need to serve X, Y, and Z customer. Right. And if you can't answer those questions, you might need to go back to the lab and do a little bit more learning before you go embark on the journey. Right. And so you have that conversation, right? Okay. So now we know we need 2 mixers. We need 3 prep tables. We know we need 2 ovens. Okay. Now we got to go out and get pricing on that. Right. So say we need $100,000 just to buy all that equipment, or, maybe we go to the auction and we find somebody that liquidated their bakery because they didn't have a good plan in place and they had to close their doors. And maybe we can find that for $30,000. So now we're at $30,000. Okay. So are you going to do all this work yourself? Yes, I'm my only employee. Okay. What happens when you're sick? What happens when you need to pick up your kid from school because they're sick? They need to go to the doctor. Your spouse gets sick. They need to spend some time in a hospital. How do you manage all those things if you're just going to operate only for yourself? And do you have enough money set in your bank to live through those days in which you can't open your bakery because you are the only person able to run that bakery? Again, great questions, right? We need to have answers for all those before you do something as big as take a risk in opening a small business.
One thing, and I want to circle back to it because this is what we started with. Why would you start a small business? Because the risk is worth the reward.
Oh yeah.
In the end.
You know, one of the most rewarding things about working with small business owners is seeing how much money that these small business owners can make doing all sorts of ordinary things.
Mhm.
And sometimes some really weird and interesting things too. But hey, you know, they didn't just make money because they're out there, you know, working 18-hour days every day and they're the ones doing every single thing, serving every customer. One of the best parts about being a business owner is, I'm going to provide careers and career paths for individuals. I can provide livings for families, and hey, maybe I have to start thinking about those things too.
But even before you can start it's fun to think about, hey, this is the future. This is what's going to be like in 20 years when I can retire on my yacht, yada, yada, right? But you got to lay that right foundation down.
Correct.
So we talked about, hey, go talk to an accountant.
Yeah.
Right? What other people should you be talking to right out of the gate before you even open a building? Because I was thinking accountant, lawyer, some insurance would probably be good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Those are all like, those are the staples, right? I would have a peer group day one, meaning I'm going to find other people who own bakeries that are willing to talk and share and help and mentor, and I would get in with them, right? And you can learn a lot about a nuance of a business from them. And maybe it's, hey, you know what? A good owner might be supportive if, hey, I'm going to go open my own bakery. And they say, hey, you know what? I get it, right? I had that entrepreneurial itch at one point in time. I respect that. And I want to see you be successful. Ultimately, what we see is when many businesses of the same kind are successful, it creates more, just a better business environment for as a whole than ones that are frictiony and they're constantly fighting with each other. Hence why you see dealer rows, where you see every car dealer in a line, because that naturally attracts more buyers for everybody involved. Versus if they were sparsed apart, you're going to see a lot less volume.
So one thing I'll say, because we've talked about this quite a bit on this podcast, but trade shows. It's a great opportunity to meet like-minded people.
Absolutely.
So if you are starting a business, hey, go visit a trade show.
Yeah.
There are people of all shapes, sizes. So we've used the bakery example quite a bit. Let's say you're in, a big city like Chicago, right?
Yeah.
There's tons of bakeries there. Okay, you want to start a bakery. How are you going to be different? Because there can only be so many, bread bakers. There can only be so many cake bakers, right?
Yeah.
So what is going to make you different than your competition?
Absolutely. Right. And that's all part of your business plan.
Exactly.
Right. Again, most business owners oftentimes start off like, hey, I'm going to talk to one customer and I'm going to make them this. And I'm going to talk to another customer. I'm going to make them this. And I'm going to talk to this customer. I'm going to make them this. You know how hard it is to run a business where you're constantly just chasing your customers, their wants and needs, instead of saying, hey, this is what I can do really well. And I'm going to consistently deliver this to what customers I want to work with, right?
Exactly. And there's a big difference between, okay, hey, I run a bakery. Hey, I'm going to be making bread. Oh, this person needs cakes. Well, that's completely different ingredients, completely different setup, this doesn't need time to proof.
Yep.
Like if you're constantly shifting gears like that, that's not viable. A perfect example, where I live, there's a place that just makes pies.
Yep.
That is their business model. They are pies. Their pies are great. And they turn out a lot of pies.
Yep.
But that's their thing.
Yep.
Right. I'm not going to them for a cake.
And
they're not called the cake makers or whatever. You go there and you're getting pie.
And we see the same thing with like donut shops, right?
Yep.
And we're going to make wacky, crazy donuts, right? And we have a special niche of our donut. And again, right, this is where going out and talking to the industry peers, going to a trade show, right? There's plenty of businesses that help support building the brand, building the concept that, hey, we can come in with a really good niche down strategy. But what does that mean, right? Hey, we need to have enough money to pay for all these things and to survive if we're going to operate that way, right? The easier thing to do is just to say, hey, I'm just going to do whatever I need to do to get cash in the door. That's the easiest thing to do just today. It makes it much harder tomorrow, but for just today, just to survive the day, the easiest thing to say is, oh, you need this? Yes, we'll find a way to make it. Go to the store, get the ingredients, make the bread, make the cake, do whatever it is that you're going to do. Easiest thing to do for today, hardest thing to do for tomorrow.
Yep. But again, it's difficult when you're up against the wall.
Yeah.
You need what you need for your business to survive.
Yeah.
We talked about accountants, lawyers, insurance, any other of the big boys that like, hey, I need to consult with these before the business opens up.
Oh yeah. Where am I going to source my material from? Where my ingredients from? Right. So I want to have a relationship with that vendor. I want to have a relationship with where I can maybe source my equipment from that I'll need. Right. Again, right. Going to the dang trade show. All those people are there at once.
And they want to do the business.
And they all want to talk to you. Yes. And they want to help you. And there's probably a bank there too, right? That specializes in finance and getting all that stuff done. Mm-hmm. What a great place to go start. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to commit to anything. That's the best part, right? We're in the planning phase, right? So right now we figure out what our origin is, figure out the direction we want to go. We want to figure out what our product is and how we're going to differentiate it. We're going to go talk to all the things that are involved and figure out how much all this stuff will cost to get started, right? Let's talk to some smart accountants about, hey, what do I need to have for working capital for a bakery that does $500,000 in revenue a year? What does working capital look like? How much cash do I need in my bank just to make sure that I'm not running so tight that I'm worried I'm going to make payroll? How do I pay my vendors, et cetera, right? Again, that's when the bad decisions start to happen. But we want to have all this mapped out on paper. What does that growth trajectory look? How much do I need to spend to get the word out on the street that I opened this bakery? Here's what I do. Here's how you get customers in the door. Here's my rewards program. Here's my POS system that I need so I can collect data. How do I market to my customers then? How do I make sure that they keep coming back and enjoying my product and not forget about me? Because even if you have a great product, if you don't have a way to remind people that you have a great product, again, that's what marketing exists, right?
Mm-hmm. So, as we kind of wrap up on all the stuff that we've talked about, I do want to add one more thing that kind of, I don't want to say is underutilized, because I think it's getting more utilized every day. And that is using an AI bot to help you with all this.
Oh, shoot.
Pick your platform. It doesn't really matter these days because they're all pretty smart. But everything that we've talked about, you can at least, and I'm not saying this is perfect, you can get some baseline information just talking with a chatbot. Yeah. Hey, I'm interested in a business here. What competitors do I have in this area? Hey, I'm interested in this. Who in my area can I build relationships? I'm interested in starting a business. What trade shows are in there? We are very fortunate, and don't get me wrong, I am not worshiping the internet or anything like that. Yeah. But I'm saying you have a wealth of knowledge and a platform that allows you to find out that information. Absolutely. So that you can be in the best possible position. Hey, I want to start a new business. I have checked these boxes. I promise you it is going to be very satisfying when you go up to an accountant and they ask you these questions and you have the answers to virtually everything. That accountant's probably going to look at you like, yeah, I'm ready to do business with this person. And even better, when you go to the bank and ask for that loan. And Eric, right? I'm right.
100%.
Yep. There's nothing they want more than to give money because they see a return. They don't want you to default. They want you to pay every payment and pay them back when you can answer every single question they offer.
Man, let's step back, right? Maybe we start at ChatGPT. We're going to answer all those questions that we talked about, right? We're going to build that business plan. We're going to go to that trade show. We're going to validate the things that we use ChatGPT based on talking to the different vendors that help support those different parts of your plan. We're going to ask ChatGPT to put together a pro forma for if I want to be $500,000, $1 million. How much do I want to make? What do I need to do in revenue to make the X amount of money that I want to walk away with as my bakery? Mm-hmm. What a world that we live in for the opportunity that we can quick start something like that probably took weeks and months of hard, heavy lifting, and that you can do in days of just strategic prompting.
And again, as we wrap up, we're going to make this real simple. So we're going to start saying baseline, why don't you just try a quick AI chat? Prompt it. It takes you minutes.
Love it.
And it costs you nothing.
Yep.
Okay. Then if you can put together a good plan based off of that, then take it to the next level. Hey, go to a trade show, meet some of the people that you need to make connections for. How much does that cost you? A couple hundred?
Yep.
And some time, maybe a weekend or a day off.
Travel
That's still
costs.
Pennies. Because again, Eric, what was it? 60 some percent?
65% of small businesses fail after 10 years.
And I promise you, going through a bankruptcy and all the money, time, effort, and energy. I mean, after 10 years, what does it look like after your resume just says, hey,
Failed this business.
I struggled through 10 years. And then what did that do to your family too, right? You have a family and they are also going through 10 years of hardship as you try to bust your butt making this business. So
Absolutely.
Start out on the right foot.
Love it.
Eric, anything else you want to add to this?
I think we covered go on ChatGPT, figure it out.
ChatGPT is not the only answer, but I will tell you it is an excellent
great place to start.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Kaizen Time, part of the Blood, Sweat, and Business podcast. If you like what you heard, subscribe and leave a 5-star review. This podcast has been brought to you by Kaizen CPAs Plus Advisors, providing advisory and accounting services to help you grow your business. Learn more at kaizencpas.com or email us at bsb@kaizencpas.com.